Mitanni was the kingdom of the Hurrians in northern Mesopotamia around 1500 BCE. At its peak in the 14th century BCE, this kingdom included the territories of present-day southeastern Turkey, northern Syria, and northern Iraq, with its center being the capital Wash-Shakani, modern-day Al-Hasaka. During the Neo-Assyrian Empire, the name Mitanni referred to the land between the Khabur and Euphrates rivers. Historical records about Mitanni are scarce. Most of the information available today comes from Assyrian, Hittite, and Egyptian sources, as well as inscriptions found in Syria. It is believed that conflicts between Hurrian tribes and city-states led to the emergence of a new dynasty after the fall of Babylon to the conquest of Mesopotamian I of the Hittite Empire and the invasion of the Kassites. The Hittite conquest, the weakening of the Assyrian kingdom, and later civil wars in Hittite lands created power vacuums in northern Mesopotamia. These factors contributed to the rise of the Mitanni kingdom. King Baratana of Mitanni expanded the kingdom westward to Halab, Aleppo, and Kisawatna was also subjugated. By the mid-15th century BCE, both Arapha and Assyria had become vassals of Mitanni. The kingdom thrived under King Shattiwaza, but the Mitanni could not extend beyond the Anatolian plateau due to resistance from the Hittites. Kisawatna and Ishua were key allies of Mitanni in resisting Hittite expansion. After some conflicts with Egypt over control of Syria, Mitanni negotiated peace and established an alliance with Egypt. In the early 14th century BCE, relations between Mitanni and Egypt were strong, and King Shattiwaza gave his daughter Gilukhepa in marriage to Pharaoh Amenhotep III. This was the golden age of Mitanni. After Shattiwaza's death, Mitanni fell into a succession dispute. Eventually, his son Tushratta took the throne. However, Mitanni weakened, and the Hittites encroached on its borders. Relations with Egypt grew cold, while Assyria began to rise in rebellion. Hittite king Suppiluliuma I invaded Mitanni's vassal states in northern Syria and took control of them. At the capital Wash-Shakani, internal struggles emerged between factions supported by the Hittites and Assyrians. Eventually, the Hittite army captured Wash-Shakani and installed Shattiwaza, the son of Tushratta, as king. Mitanni became a vassal of the Hittites. However, in the 13th century BCE, the Assyrians defeated Mitanni and annexed its territory. Early history: the Hurrians lived east of the Tigris River, in northern Mesopotamia and the Khabur Valley. Some of them migrated south before the 17th century BCE. Eusebius, writing in the 4th century CE, cited Eupolemus, a 2nd century BCE Jewish historian, who stated that, in the time of Abraham, the Armenians invaded Syria. This roughly coincides with the appearance of the Mitanni, as Abraham is believed to have lived around the 17th century BCE. The Mitanni were mentioned in texts from Nuzi and Ugarit and in Hittite archives stored at Hattusha. Cuneiform texts from Mari mention rulers of city-states in northern Mesopotamia with Amorite and Hurrian names. The rulers of Ursham and Hashem also had Hurrian names. There is no clear evidence of an invasion from the northeast. The evidence suggests that the Hurrians arrived from the south and west. According to legend, the first king to establish Mitanni was Kurta. However, little is known about Mitanni's earliest rulers. Baratana, Pasha, Ta. King Baratana is mentioned in inscriptions from Nuzi, but Egyptian records do not reference him. Some theories suggest that Baratana was the king who fought Pharaoh Thutmose III in the 15th century BCE. Scholars debate whether Baratana and Pasha, Ta were the same person. During Thutmose III's reign, the Egyptian army crossed the Euphrates and invaded the heart of Mitanni's territory. At Megiddo, the Egyptian forces fought against Assyrian coalition, including the lords of Kadesh and Mitanni troops. After the Battle of Megiddo, it is unclear whether a treaty was established, but Egypt successfully opened the path for further northern expansion. Thutmose III launched another campaign in the 33rd year of his reign. The Egyptian army crossed Karkemish and reached a town called Iran, possibly modern-day Erin, 20 kilometers northwest of Aleppo. The Egyptians crossed the Euphrates and reached Amar, modern-day Meskin, before returning to Syria. The central Orontes region and Phoenicia became Egyptian territory. Baratana and his son Shalshtata controlled northern Syria and the coastline from Kisawatna to Alalak. Shalshtata raided Ashur multiple times in the 15th century BCE. He seized golden and silver doors and brought them back to Wash-Shakani. This event was later mentioned in the treaty between Suppiluliuma and Shattiwaza. After Ashur was looted, Assyria may have been forced to pay tribute to Mitanni. During its time as a vassal of Mitanni, temples dedicated to the gods Sin and Shamash were built in Ashur. Aleppo, Nuzi, and Arapha were annexed into Mitanni under Shalshtata's rule. The Mitanni army was renowned for its chariot warfare. Documents on horse training, written by Kikuli, were found in Hattusha. During the reign of Pharaoh Amenhotep II, Mitanni regained influence in central Orontes. Artashumara I and Tushratta II, Later, Egypt and Mitanni became allies. King Shatana II was warmly received in Egypt. The two kingdoms exchanged letters and luxurious gifts. Mitanni was particularly interested in Egyptian gold. This led to royal intermarriages. Artashumara I's daughter married Thutmose IV, while Shatana I's daughter Kiluhepa, married Amenhotep III. Later, Taduhepa, daughter of Tushratta, was also married into the Egyptian royal family. When Amenhotep III fell ill, the Mitanni king sent a statue of the goddess Ishtar, from Nineveh to bless him. The border between Egypt and Mitanni was near Katna, and Ugarit belonged to Egypt. Artashumara and Tushratta. Artashumara succeeded to the throne of Shatana II but was assassinated by Udhi or Uthi. After that, Uthi was replaced by Tushratta, another son of Shatana II. There is a hypothesis that Uthi had the support of Egypt in this matter. Taking advantage of the instability among Mitanni's vassals, Aziru of Amurru secretly cooperated with the Hittites. King Suppiluliuma of the Hittites recaptured Kizawatna. Suppiluliuma also seized the western regions of the Euphrates Valley, including Amurru and Nuhashshe. From Mitanni, Suppiluliuma signed a treaty with Artatama II, a rival of Tushratta. He continued his conquest of territories west of the Euphrates. Tushratta threatened to lay waste to the Euphrates region. Suppiluliuma aimed to reclaim Ishua, a land that the Hittites had previously lost to Mitanni. The Hittite army crossed the border and successfully recaptured Ishua. They launched multiple attacks on Washakani. Suppiluliuma made various demands. During the second campaign, the Hittites captured Halab, Mukish, Nia, Arahati, Apina, and Katna, along with several other unidentified cities. The Hittites plundered a vast amount of spoils and chariots, bringing them back to Hatti. To counter Mitanni's powerful chariot forces, the Hittites upgraded their own chariots. Shattiwaza, one son of Tushratta, betrayed and assassinated him. Seizing the throne, another son, Shattiwaza, was forced to flee. As a result, the Assyrians regained their independence, and Mitanni had to return the gates they had previously seized from Ashur. Shattiwaza initially fled to Babylon and later to the Hittites. The Hittite king gave his daughter in marriage to Shattiwaza. Suppiluliuma signed a treaty with Shattiwaza. Later, Piashili, the son of Suppiluliuma, led an army to assist Shattiwaza in reclaiming Mitanni. The Hittite army crossed the Euphrates and clashed with the Irdi and Hurrite territory. The Hittites emerged victorious. Meanwhile, the Assyrian army advanced toward Washakani. It appears that Mitanni sought Assyrian assistance against the Hittites, but Assyria refused. Shatana had no choice but to surrender to the Hittites. The Assyrian army withdrew to avoid direct confrontation with the formidable Hittite forces. Shattiwaza became the king of Mitanni. However, his government was controlled by the Hittites, and the territory was significantly reduced. The Hittites used Mitanni as a buffer against Assyria. Shattiwaza I. The records of Adad-nirari I, 1307 to 1275 BCE, describe the relationship between Shattiwaza I and Assyria. Adad-nirari I captured Shattiwaza and took him to Ashur before eventually releasing him back to Mitanni. Shattiwaza was subjected to heavy tributes by Assyria. At this time, Mersili II ruled over the Hittite Empire. Wasashata, envious of Assyria's growing power, Shattiwaza's son, Wasashata, rebelled. He sought help from the Hittites, but the Hittites were embroiled in a civil war due to Hattusili Ii's usurpation of the throne from his nephew Uri-Teshep. The Hittites provided financial aid to Mitanni but offered no military assistance. Assyria launched attacks on Taidu, capturing Washakani, Amasaku, Kahat, Shuru, Nabula, Hura, and Shaduhu. The Assyrians also attacked Eridu, completely destroying it and salting the land. Wasashata's wife and children were taken to Ashur, but he himself managed to escape. Some scholars suggest he fled to Shuraba, a Mitanni city, and became its ruler. During the Mitanni campaign, Adad-nirari I did not cross the Euphrates, and Karkemish remained under Hittite control. Adad-nirari sent letters demanding the Hittite king recognize him as an equal. Shattiwaza II, the son or grandson of Wasashata, rebelled against Assyrian king Shalmaneser I, 1270 to 1240 BCE. He received support from the Hittites and the Alamu tribes. However, Shalmaneser I achieved a decisive victory. The Assyrians massacred 14.400 people. According to records glorifying Shalmaneser I's achievements, 180 cities of the Hurrians were destroyed, and the Hittite and Alamu forces were slaughtered like sheep. Cities from Taidu to Eridu fell to Assyria. Hanalgalbat, a portion of the population, was exiled and forced into labor. The ruling authorities had to distribute barley to the people. Assyria built a fortified system to defend against the Hittites. Ilyapada, a member of the Assyrian royal family, became the ruler of Mitanni, which was now called Hanalgalbat, effectively a province of Assyria. Assyria controlled its military and politics but not its trade. During the reign of Tukulti-Ninurta I, 1243 to 1207 BCE, A large number of refugees fled Mitanni and settled in Ashur, contributing to the construction of palaces. The Hittite king launched an invasion of Hanul-Galbat, inciting rebellion. Assyrian cities were plundered. During the reign of Ashur-Nirari III, the Mushku people and other tribes invaded Hanul-Galbat. The Hurrians still held Katmuhu and Pafu, the Neo-Assyrian Empire period. For several centuries, Washakani was under Assyrian rule. The Mitanni people seem to have established a new city-state, Urartu, in the north. During the reigns of Adad-nirari II, Ashurnasirpal II, and Shalmaneser III, the name Hanul-Galbat was still in use.